Hello, and welcome back to episode 8 of the Mastour Debatours podcast. Returning once again, we have two members who have been on before. There's JCC. Hello, say hello to the people.
Hello. Hello.
And of course, EyeGaimInHD, aka Tim, aka our Lord Redeemer, because of that
Hello, everyone.
light above his head. He's got a goddamn halo coming down upon him. Now today, we have these two on, and only these two. It's going to be a tight little podcast because we are talking about, I guess, another niche. I would say another niche genre within the FIFA community, and that, of course, is pro clubs, ladies and gentlemen. But before we get into the meat, before we get into that delicious man meat that is pro clubs, let's go ahead. You two weren't on last week, so I want to give you guys an opportunity to talk about what you think about FIFA 17. Tim, what do you think about Journey Mode? There are a couple of new things that have come out since E3. How do you feel about the way that FIFA 17 is shaping up so far?
I think FIFA 17 is going to be a bit of a struggle because they're actually taking the right steps now. They're taking baby steps towards making the game better and making it better for everyone, but you can't nail it.
What do you mean by a struggle?
With the journey, for
who?
example, the things they're trying now. They're focusing on the journey, but that's not going to be great the first year, you know. And that's kind of taking the attention away from maybe other game modes as well. So I think it's going to be a struggle to keep going with just the journey, maybe a few additions here and there, but new engine and stuff, it's going to take a while to adjust. And maybe from FIFA 18 onwards, we can really see some great stuff. But I'm skeptical right now. I don't want to get my hopes up too early.
Okay, JCC, what are your thoughts from E3?
Yeah, I think the new engine is the most exciting thing coming into the game. But again, it's not what everyone really wanted. I don't know. I didn't anyway, personally. And I agree. In that they're probably just going to focus on this story mode, and it seems very linear. You know, it seems very like, do you want to sign a contract? Yes, and then you go on and sign, and it doesn't interest me that much personally. I feel like it's something that like you'll play through once and then maybe be like, that was okay, bit boring, bit plain, and they haven't really, you know, we know what EA are like. They're going to focus so much attention on that who knows, they probably haven't even touched stuff like pro clubs. It's probably going to be exactly the same, and we're just going to be like opening it up and just going to go 5 years, 6 years, the same stuff. Come on, like, come on. So yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah. Well, Cutsy isn't here. He got into a little bit of heat the past week about his opinions on it, saying that EA might be listening more to what the big career mode YouTubers have been asking for. But I love Cutsy, but I kind of disagree with him on the bit that I don't think it's just been career mode YouTubers that have been asking for a story mode. It's a lot of people have been asking for the story mode for a long time. You know, Masterbucks and might be, you know, a guy who was asking for it. But I think just the general public have been asking for story modes ever since 2K came out with the story mode. You know, and EA finally listened. We got a story mode, and now I think us as creators, we're just like, well, this is nothing we can work with unless you're like the top guy. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, well, it's a little bit disappointing for us, but I try to remove myself like from being a creator and just try to think of if I'm like a common consumer, if I was just like me, I wasn't on YouTube, I would love this idea. You know, I still do. It's just that like that's the dream, man, of anybody who's ever really like fell in love with the game of football, is to play for your beloved club with your best friend, you know, and to be able to live that out. And that's actually something definitively new. That's, you know, you can't argue that. It's definitively a new experience that you will have never played on in FIFA to date. And to be able to do that, and hopefully the story's not terrible. At least you have, you know, a name better than Frequency Vibrations. But, you know, like, it's I'm pretty hopeful for it, and even though
it's a good step, yeah. It's a good step, yeah. But right now it's going to be limited to just the Premier League, just the striker position. You can't customize. I know they're going to branch out and do more and make it better, and it's exciting to do that. But right now, it's like the first step is always the hard one, and I feel that's why.
That's the thing. Do you not think they just cater for people who aren't like seasoned FIFA players? Like all of us play FIFA like a lot. Right, but they just the story mode takes the attention of people who are like, oh, I sometimes buy FIFA, I might get it this year, and I feel like that's what they focus on, it just trying to sell copies and not trying to please the people who actually have the game. That's my opinion.
That's a very valid point. If you take a look at it, they already know that we're a dedicated market and that they'll sell what they're always going for the past 2 years, you could argue, is new revenue streams, new people that they can add onto the sales. So that's why you could argue they brought in females, to the game, is to, you're adding 50% of the population to possibly buy your game. I don't know what were the statistics on how many females actually bought the game additionally this year. And then this year you're going story mode, which, I mean, a lot of paying customers have been asking for story modes, to be fair, to counter your point. But at the same time, yeah, it's something new and different. So maybe a person, to your point, JCC, who's like, I'm not going to buy FIFA this year. It's the same shit. It's just a fucking reskin. It's just a roster update. I don't give a shit. And now they say story mode. It's like, motherfucker. Well, that's something that's legitimately looks kind of fun to play. Even though it is only one season, admittedly, and I agree with you, and I agree with both of you, that it is scary. When they talk about this type of stuff, they're like, what the Frostbite engine brings in is that now you can see the locker rooms, and you can see, the living rooms and the kitchens, and I'm like, oh no. Like, that's a lot of, what that says to me is that's a lot of resources they could be using on improving, the game in other areas. But definitively, the player models look better. They have been talking about other stuff too, how physical play is pretty much going to revolutionize this year's game. And this is not just, the big EA heads that are talking about. You hear Castro talking about players like Ibra are going to be dominating this year because of the physical play. The L2 button, or the LB2 button, or whatever. The LT button is going to be massive this year, as you can hold off players both physically on the defensive end and offensive end. And that's kind of the stuff that's been coming out that kind of more interests me than story mode, is they're saying that my big fear was bringing in a brand new engine. It can be kind of clunky, but they're saying that, passing is better, that there's going to be more intelligent runs, and that physical play is going to redefine it. So this year it was all about, high agility players. Lionel Messi was king. Those type of players were king this year. But next season, now there could be multiple ways to play, and that's what really encourages me. You can
see.
I want them.
I don't believe that, because they say they're changing it every year. Pace is becoming less and less relevant every year. And when the game comes out, when you play the demo, that is true. And then people start complaining, they patch it, and it's pretty much, again, pace dominated. And that is because the people want that. I don't feel like the game has changed enough the last few years. So,
Tim, you're going all over the place.
Now it's actually going to change. I don't know. Why?
You're kind of lagging.
Hello? Oh.
Yeah. Turn off your video. Turn off your video for a while, and turn off your porn that you're downloading, and then so we can actually hear what you're saying.
I'm not that. You can keep the porn. Keep the porn.
Priorities. But
what I was saying
you're coming a little bit laggy. Continue. Yeah.
Yeah. So every FIFA, they're remastering gameplay, they're changing stuff. They're going to say pace is less relevant, for example. And when the game comes out, people start complaining because they can't play well, they cannot adjust, they patch it, and once again, pace becomes dominant. This physical play overhaul may sound fantastic, and maybe Ibra will be effective, but I'm guaranteeing you, 2 months into FIFA, everyone's going to go for Messi or Ronaldo over Ibra in fucking foot draft or anything, because the people cannot adjust to a new style. They just want it easy, so they're going to go for pace, and that's the problem.
We'll see. And I would counter argument to that pace is definitely, this is the weakest pace has ever been in FIFA, would be my argument. Although it is still prominent, and it should be prominent because pace is very important in real life football. But my hope is that you have different style. This opens up a different style to play as. That's my hope. And yes, you're very much allowed to be cynical, because we've all heard it over the years at all the past Gamescom and E3 conferences.
Yeah.
They're going to be renovating. They're going to be renovating this. But when you hear actual people who have played the game say that, physical play is actually something that's different in it, it gives me a little bit of encouragement. JCC, do you have any hope for this year's FIFA?
Yeah, you've always got to have hope. Like, I think it will be good. It's always fun at the end of the day. Like, we're sitting here in June and we're still all producing content on the game. We're still playing the game. I still love it, but there does need to be changes. But ultimately, you've got to be optimistic, because it is always fun.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. It's a long way to go. Well, not even that long. What is it, like 4 months? 4 months away? 3 months away?
Yeah, 3.
And
3 months, yeah.
Yeah, 3 months away.
I'm going to be a bit negative today, because I've learned not to have too high expectations for FIFA.
And you deserve that. And this is something that I would like more on this podcast. Usually we just all agree with each other, so a little bit of friendly debate.
Okay.
is more than welcome. But let's
go. It's going to be shit. That's all I'm saying.
Just voice it. And you know what? If I was a betting man, I'd bet on you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
maybe.
The chances are that it's going to be a shit FIFA, and that, you know, very little things are going to change, and it's going to be all dedicated to the story mode. That's the fear, but we'll see. Anyway, let's go ahead. Let's move on to something that's probably going to be neglected in FIFA 17, as JCC proluded, and that, of course, is the best game mode of all time in all FIFAs. That is Pro Clubs. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pretty sure that everybody who's listening to this has played at least one game of Pro Clubs, but for the two people who listen to this who never even touched Pro Clubs, what is Pro Clubs to you, JCC?
Well, the basics of Pro Clubs is you control one player rather than all of them. I guess it's kind of like story mode player mode, isn't it? Player mode on career mode, but it's my player, but it's online, and you can play with friends. So effectively, you can have up to 11 players on your team versus another 11, and you just control the one player and attempt to win like you do any game of football. But that's the basics. What else can be said? If you haven't played it, go and give it a try.
Yeah. And you can play. Tim, do you have anything else to add on there?
Yeah, it's genuinely the closest thing you'll get on FIFA that comes to compared to real life. It's the closest thing. There's nothing that compares to it. The way you play it, the way you interact with people as well, play styles. You know, you can't just. I want to play Pro Clubs today. Let me just load up Pro Clubs and start a game. It doesn't work like that.
Why not?
Because you need people to play with. Or you can just go into a drop-in match and you won't enjoy it, but you will build relationships over time with people, with friends that you'll enjoy playing with, and that you kind of bond with them. And that's why I feel like it's a great game mode, because you get to meet new people. Right? You don't even have to play competitive Pro Clubs to do that. You can just play with your friends. They'll invite people. You'll meet people. That's what you do when you play Pro Clubs. You won't meet anyone by playing career mode or Ultimate Team. And I feel like that is fantastic about Pro Clubs, the social aspect of it.
Yes, I definitely agree that if you played Pro Clubs before and you weren't playing with your friends, you're doing it wrong. If you go into a drop-in match, that is the biggest shitstorm in FIFA. The absolute, just like people skilling selfishly, or like just scoring own goals for the bans. It's the worst. It really is the worst. But it's a totally transformative. That's a totally transformative experience when you're in with, you don't even need that many, like two of your mates. Just you three playing some Pro Clubs. And there's no other game mode that allows you to play with more than one other. Well, you could probably do co-op, I guess, up against two people. But there's no other game mode that allows you to play simultaneously with this large of amount, or easily to play cooperatively beyond two players. That is Pro Clubs. And I think you touched on a very cool aspect of it, is that since they are human control players, it plays unlike any other game mode in FIFA. I didn't even actually think about that. But let's work on the proclamation. You already started on this, Tim. JCC, what makes Pro Clubs, in your opinion, the best game mode in all of FIFA?
Because it's definitely, like Tim said, it's the most social game mode. It's like, that's what most people online gaming is a big part of it, is social, especially in the last 3 or 4 years. You're always with mates, you're always talking, everyone's got mics now. It's all changed, that sort of thing. And Pro Clubs has just always been with me. It's always about me and 3 and 4 of my actual friends just playing and just messing about, which is so much better to me than just playing Ultimate Team and just sitting on your own. And I would just play Pro Clubs and piss myself laughing the whole night. Whereas if I'm playing Ultimate Team on my own with some music on, it's fun, but it's a different sort of experience. But something that's frustrating me is, like you said, with the My Story mode coming in. I feel like they've looked at I feel like they've taken a bit. They could have incorporated Pro Clubs into that, but they never did. I might be jumping ahead. We might get onto that later, but it's effectively you get your own pro and you build him up. You can play whatever position you want. You can customize him relatively small amounts, but we can get onto that. But it's basically your own player on the screen. It's yourself with your mates, and you can all just have a laugh. And there's nothing better. There's nothing more social to me.
Yeah,
in gaming.
The customization is so. I think that might not be like kind of not the biggest allure is that you're not playing as one of the big players. You know, you're not a Ronaldo or a Messi, but technically you can make a Messi or a Ronaldo. You can change your height at different places. You can change your facial features and a lot of stuff. Tim, how's it going? How's it going, man? No,
just checking on the porn.
Yeah, he's just. So we have technical difficulties with Tim, but I'll continue on. Right here. I'll just have a little chat with you.
I'm back. Sorry.
I see your dad wanted to say a few words on pro clubs. What did he want to say?
Nothing really. No, not important. Move on.
Okay. But anyway, customization. You can make him look like your dad if you wanted to. You can make him look like an old man. And all those things are like a huge part of, you know, you can express yourself to a certain extent. There are limitations, as JCC said, and there's stuff that you can unlock along the way. I think that's a really fun part of it too. And one of the big allures of pro clubs is you start out with like some shitty 73 or 74 rated overall. And then, you know, by doing accomplishments like, you know, scoring certain goals, completing a certain amount of passes, you can upgrade your player. You know, much like a Call of Duty upgrade system or something along those lines. There's slight RPG elements.
You basically build yourself into the game. And I don't know. There could be more, of course, in terms of customization. It hasn't changed a bit, but it's still nice to be able to create myself in the game. And that's why I feel like it's different to all the other game modes. Like when you play career mode, you score a goal, fair enough, you score a goal. You're not going to cheer out loud, but if you compare that feeling to maybe a Pro Clubs match 11v11, if you score then, that is nothing like on career mode. That is the best feeling you'll get on FIFA, guaranteed. And that's why it's the best game mode. I don't know what else to say, really. Nothing comes close to it.
It's the inclusiveness, like feeling like you're part of something bigger than yourself. Yeah.
It's like you're playing football in real life. It's just not with people on the pitch. It's with people behind their consoles, but they still see what you do. And you can impress them. You're not going to impress anyone by playing career mode unless you're a YouTuber and you put it on YouTube, maybe. But it's just fantastic. The feeling you get from playing clubs and being successful in it is 10 times better than I feel like in any other game mode when you win something.
Yeah, and it definitely feels different like when you play it. It's different when there's like even to online head-to-head play or even like it's different when there's like, you know, 3 to 11 players, well not 11, but 10 players swarming you. You know, it's a different mentality, different passes work, different skill moves work. It's a totally different way. So if you're feeling a little bit dry on FIFA this year, or you're saying like, FIFA mode is dead, grab your friends, man, grab your mates, and just start in Div 10. You know, make your pros, maybe buy a couple of those boosts, wink wink. You know, no one's gonna know. Just buy a couple of those boosts, get your physicals up a little bit and your dribbles up, and then just have a ball, man. Even if you're losing, you could still have some of those magical moments. I'm sure all three of us have had those moments when we're down like 4-0 and then something amazing happens, either terrible or horrific or amazing, that just like there's no other game mode where you're down 4-0 and you can be laughing your ass off. You know what I'm saying?
That must be you, B, because I never lose 4-0.
I've seen 4 goals scored on you. I was in that match too.
Maybe.
And then you rage quit in the middle of it, and then you run out of goal. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, me and Tim have the personal experience of we're down 4-0, and then Tim runs out of goal, runs up the pitch, and then scores a goal from the goalkeeper position, which is not even a unique thing. I've seen him do it multiple times.
That's true, actually.
And sometimes when we're up 4-0, he'll try to do it as well. So it's just like, there's crazy things, like weird glitches that you'll never know. Like, I don't know if you know this, JCC, but we got really high in divisions because we just used this really cheap method of the stamina for your keeper doesn't really lower throughout the whole entire match. So all we would do is we would wait until the second half. We would play relatively like whatever in the first half. And then the second half, we'd have our keeper go up, and then we'd have 2 people in the goal line trying to clear stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's all we would do. Yeah, because the goalkeeper could just breeze past literally everybody and just cheese it. And that's like, we got so many mean messages.
Yeah, that's the fun part. That's the fun part about the game mode. But luckily there is the other side of the spectrum as well, if people get bored of just playing for fun and stuff. And it's for everyone really, if you can find where you belong. And although it's kind of fun to mess about in divisions, it's the next thing we're going to talk about that really sets it apart from everything else. I feel like that's even better than just playing for fun in divisions.
That's the kiddie pool. Divisions is kiddie pool. Don't get me wrong, it's quite hard to win Division 1. It is quite difficult to win Division 1. But we're going to get into once you maybe you're getting pretty good. That's why I have these two on. These two play in a competitive Pro Club League, 11 on 11 usually, I would say. And that, of course, is called the VFL. Tim, you're already getting into it. Tell us, what is VFL?
It's basically a site created by people who acknowledge the fact that EA are not doing anything with the potential of pro clubs, and they're trying their best to make that potential come through by making a competitive league with multiple leagues across both consoles, with multiple divisions. You can get relegated, you can get promoted, 11v11 pro clubs, really competitive. This is not something you want to do if you just want to turn on your console every now and again and play. But if you feel like you're missing something on FIFA, if you want to take it like to the next level, the VFL may be the place to start, and you can build your way up. Like in real football, you start off as a nobody, you build your way up, you build a reputation, you can go to a better team, you can play fantastic football, you can learn stuff, you can learn new people. It's fantastic. And that's why the VFL is around, because that was missing on FIFA, and EA don't do anything about it, so someone else will.
JCC, talk more about how you discovered the VFL and why you joined the VFL.
Yeah, I was just got to the point where I was playing a lot. I was smashing Division 1, and then me and my friends got a message from one of my subscribers just saying, "Oh, you should join up to the VFL at the start of FIFA 16." We were like, "What?" Because I'm just, like I said, like I'm an idiot, so I just didn't even ever look into it. And then we just joined up and just fell in love with it. So we started in the Championship. All the teams are like real life teams. We had the first season in the Championship. We play every single team, and we came, I can't remember, but in the playoffs. Then we won the Championship, went up to the Premier League, and then from there we tried to win the Premier League. I haven't won it, so I've gone over to Serie A, playing for Roma. It's like, I still stand by, it is just what EA are trying to do with my story. They could have just blown it out and just put so much into pro clubs and have made it the same thing, because it's like, if us lot who love the game, pro clubs, can create this thing, VFL, and create this community without any involvement from EA, imagine just a little effort on their part, it would just blow it up. But it's very competitive, maybe too competitive sometimes, but it's...
What do you mean by
amazing.
Too competitive sometimes? Do you have any stories?
Nothing, no stories wise, like just like...
It depends from team to team pretty much, how competitive it gets.
Definitely. So like if you want to play for the Championship representing Birmingham, it might be a little bit more relaxed than if you're like Tim at Bayern Munich or with our lot at Roma, where you're actually in the Champions League and trying to win it. But there is nothing better, because if you win a game of VFL and it's a website set up and you see yourself moving up the table, it's just like being in a Sunday League team with all your mates.
Yeah, it's a virtual Sunday League, essentially.
And it's fantastic because a lot of people are watching at the same time. They're seeing what you're achieving and what you're doing, and that's what makes it so awesome.
And even if you don't do YouTube, like me and Tim and obviously B, but you don't focus on the pro clubs, even if you don't do YouTube and you're not showing the world your footage, what Tim means is, like, if you're the top goal scorer in the league, people see that. It's a massive list. So people will be like, oh, this guy's flying. And then you might get a message at the end of that season from Man United manager who will be like, do you want to come and trial? And then you sign up to Man United. So it's awesome. It's awesome.
And there are people out there who can just walk into a chat and everyone bumlicks them because they know how good they are. There's literally personalities in this that get recognized for how great they are. And that's awesome as well.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. You guys have made like this whole entire subculture. I've seen a bit of it. Like, there's, if I'm not misinformed, you guys have like man of the matches, team of the seasons that you guys do for everyone. Like,
everything there is in real life, pretty much. Everything there is, and even more than what there is in real life. You've got a golden ball for defenders, goalkeepers, midfielders, and forwards. Not just one golden ball. You know, there's all sorts of stuff that you can win, and that can get you recognized for the player you are, and that's what makes it great.
And there's multiple, how does the multiple league thing work? So there's like a Bundesliga, a Serie A, the Prem. Can you freely just transfer from any region to another region, or do you guys have prices on your heads that they need to meet?
Yeah.
So
there is a transfer window.
Oh, there's transfer windows. Okay.
There's transfer windows. You can get bought. You can get loaned out. You can get released from your contract if you agree to do that with your team. There's anything can happen, and your value is determined by how good you play during that season. Goals, assists, clean sheets, all that bumps up your value, and that's what determines your transfer price.
See, that's the part that, like, I recently just joined a VFL, and then me and Tyler and Flickify, we all hopped in, and we were at a value of like $1 million. So you just start out at $1 million, and I thought it was really cool that, like, depending on your performance and stuff, you could just rise and rise and rise in value. And that's like something that, like, you can quantify, man. Like, that is another reason why you would play VFL, is to see your actual value rise in the game. Well, I guess you can kind of do that in My Player, but it's not the same. It's not as satisfying, I would say, playing with 11 on 11 as it is, beating a world-class or legendary computer or whatever, you play on.
No one is watching when you play career mode. The community is watching what you achieve over there. 26,000 people. I'm not saying everyone is looking out for you, but there are people who see it. And that's so great about it. And that's why, I get what you mean, John, with the journey, trying to do that. It will never ever have the same effect as pro clubs, and it's a shame that they're kind of neglecting it a bit, because that's the game where they should do that on.
Yeah, well, to put into context, like what you were saying about, like, you never get a better feeling about scoring a goal. In my second season at Derby, so in my second season ever in VFL, we were going for the league title, and you have scheduled games for anyone who doesn't know. So you play at a certain time. If you don't make that, you forfeit, and you can get, like, obviously you'll survive, but you'll get in trouble. You might even get punishments, like points deducted. But I was at Derby, and I was up front, and we had our games, because of a crash on the website where it all runs, our games were pushed back. So we had 4 games, and we were in second place to a team, Aston Villa, who had played every single one of their games except for against us. We ended up playing the 3 games we had, and then the last game of the season was Aston Villa versus Derby, and we were like 1 point behind them. So we took the lead, so we were going to win the title. And then it was being streamed to like hundreds and hundreds of people watching it, not by me, but someone on our team. And then they scored, which means that they were going to just grind out, park the bus, win it. And then in the 82nd minute, the ball just dropped to me, and I volleyed it in. And that means obviously we were going to win the title after a massive season championship. I just fell off my chair, like, screaming. Everyone in the Skype call is screaming, because we all know the Aston Villa players. We're all like getting sick before the game, like, we're going to smash you, and we're just there like screaming. And then you have the tensest 8 minutes of your life, where every single player is sitting there, like,
you're sweating as well.
No penalties. Yeah, you're sweating. You're there like, oh my god, and then you just win it, and it's like winning the cup final for your Sunday league.
Let me tell you, those are the memories you'll remember from FIFA. You won't remember anything you do in Career Mode or Ultimate Team. Those are the memories you create on the game by playing clubs like that.
There you go.
Maybe not for you, but I see. Yeah, I don't know. But if you understand, I understand what he's talking about and the feeling he gets. And for me, that's also like everyone in the VFL, whether you're in the championship or in the Champions League final, if you win something, if you do something like that, that's just the best feeling in the world, man. It's honestly amazing.
So I think if you haven't found your passion on FIFA, just try pro clubs. Obviously try everything, but if you can't find it with pro clubs, then maybe you're not a FIFA person if you haven't found it already, because it's just amazing.
Strong words. But yeah, I mean, like, try to find a person who, like, has that type of story playing Ultimate Team or Career Mode. You're just not gonna find it. You know what I'm saying? That's what I like about, like, all these kind of, like, subgenres in FIFA. If you really say that FIFA's a god-awful game and a terrible game and that it's boring, you just haven't tried it all, man. Like, don't be afraid to go ahead and try something new that's out of your comfort zone, because you might just fucking fall in love with it. And that's why it's great. But here's the thing. You guys had to make VFL, because EA has been, like, fucking ignoring you, and you're telling these incredible stories of, like, last second heroics and playing with your mates 11 on 11, squeaky bum time and all that stuff. This is far more passionate, I would say, than almost anybody who's ever been on this podcast talking about FIFA. Why do you guys think that hasn't translated into bigger views on YouTube? And I would say that with one caveat. I would say one of the most popular videos out there ever from a lot of the big FUT guys is their Pro Club series. And that's when I first really found out about Pro Clubs, was when it was like A9, KSI, Nepenthes all played together. and all that kind of stuff. But besides that, I haven't really seen like a really big, no offense to JCC, but a really, really big pro clubs YouTuber take off. Why do you think it doesn't really translate or hasn't really caught on the YouTube scene?
I think you need time for pro clubs as well. Like I said before, you can't just load up your console and start playing it and recording it and make a series on it. You need time, you need to schedule it, you need to find people to do it with. It's harder to get started. And that's why probably not many people are doing it. I wouldn't say it's not popular because, like you said, Sidemen, brother clubs or whatever, those series get views. They are amazing to watch, but it's hard for them to organize that. So yeah, it's a bit difficult to get it started, I guess.
JCC, why do you think there hasn't been, maybe as big of a guy as career mode or even
Well, I think because those videos are really popular because it's like the ultimate collab, isn't it? It's like what everyone wants to see. It's just like the Cybermen have taken it to another level now, meeting up and all that. But it's that sort of, and living together. But it's that sort of thing. It's like you can play someone one-on-one on Ultimate Team, but if you have 5 of them on the team and it's all your favorite guys playing, it's Christmas for you. You get to see all your favorite people.
It's a dream. Yeah, it's the Avengers of FIFA.
I think, yeah, I think they're so focused on Ultimate Team. They always have been. They're so focused on making money from those fucking packs. That's my view, is that they just think, we'll just leave that. Nobody's really interested. But if they really put some attention into it and they looked into it, I think it's got the most potential of any game mode to explode.
Yeah, and Cutsy isn't here, but he's definitely said that a bunch of times, is that there's so much potential. There's absolutely so much potential in pro clubs that is just untapped because it's not a good monetary revenue source for them. It's just kind of like an afterthought. But here's the thing. Here's what's kind of crazy. If I'm not mistaken, like, this is the game mode that we were always asking about, like, what other people want in, like, other game modes. Like, a Madden has wanted this for years, like a 11 on 11, and they still haven't gotten that. But they got, like, probably, like, other stuff, like Legends in their career modes and all that other stuff. But we actually have it here, and it's so untapped. It's so freaking untapped. As for why I think pro clubs is just not more popular on YouTube, is I just don't think enough people play it. I think that's the reason why FUT's so big on YouTube, is everybody plays FUT. Everybody plays FUT. And career mode is kind of down there because not everybody plays career mode anymore. I would say, like, some people, but it's a lot smaller audience, and then an even smaller percentage play pro clubs. And I would say to that, and that's also because EA doesn't really promote the shit out of FUT. It's exciting to open packs and that kind of stuff, and it's exciting to see that type of hype. And then for career modes, I would say it's exciting to see the big players. Like, oh, he signed Ronaldo. Oh, he signed a really good young player. He signed the next Neymar or whatever, Mbolo.
It's easy to get those players on career mode, and even in draft. You could draft Team of the Year Iniesta, but try and find someone on clubs who plays like Iniesta is 10 times more difficult. So people want to take the easy route, I guess, and just do something that's accessible for them. Yeah, and that's why pro clubs, it's not easy to get into, I understand that. But once you get into it, I think you have the most hardcore fans of game modes in pro clubs, because once you love it, there is no going back on that.
Yeah, and then there's just like, there's so many ways to play it too. There's so many, like, we get a lot of fun out of it. We'll choose a team, like 4 or 5 of us in a Skype call. We'll choose a team: Bayern Munich, Manchester United, whatever. And then we'll all call, like, I want to be him, and then we'll actually build them in, and then we'll try to, like, build them as close as possible to their actual likeness and try to play in their styles and that kind of stuff. You can build greats, Zidane, or you could fuck around and just create, like, the most, like, fat guy on the planet and see how he'll actually play in pro clubs. Or you can, do it up really smart, top of the line, like JCC and you guys build yourselves and play in VFL. There's so much depth to this game mode that you just cannot do in any other. And it's so, I don't know. JCC kind of touched on this, but why do you think that EA has just ignored pro clubs for so long? And what's frustrating, even before that, is just like, well, I'll touch on that a little bit later. JCC, why do you think they've been ignoring pro clubs for so long?
they're so focused on Ultimate Team like the whole time. That's all they've been focused on to me anyway. I haven't got as much experience as you obviously in career mode, so you might say they've done a lot to career mode or they've done nothing. I wouldn't really be able to comment, but all I know is that it's always Ultimate Team because it's just a revenue stream, isn't it? They can just get packs and packs and packs. But for me, I can't even answer the question because I know that I'm such a loser that I would spend so much money customizing my pro. Like I would do everything. I would sit there like all day and be like, to it for a new, I'll do that, like sort of thing, new boots, or maybe not boots, but sort of, just it just stresses my mind because I think like it is such an untapped market that they could just put like a little bit of effort into every year, and I really think it could grow. Obviously, whatever they promote is going to help. And when have you ever seen pro clubs on the advert or anything? You never see anything about it. So you don't even know what it is. Like, you just don't know what it is. And I think for whatever reason, it's never going to grow. It's never going to blow up unless they put it in the advert. I mean, if they went and did, pro clubs at the end of the advert or in the middle, they did a career mode bit, a pro clubs bit, I'm sure I'd get a look on my YouTube channel and have an extra 2,000 views and just be like, whoa, what? On just my first episode, because people just be like, oh, pro club straight away. If you don't promote something, no one's going to come. If you it's like if you opened a bar in the middle of nowhere and told nobody's going to show up. So it's difficult, I think.
Now, would you like this? This is an idea, just an idea. There's no rumors about this, but would you like it if there was some type of Ultimate Team pro clubs hybrid? So that, like, you can use the card that you get in Ultimate Team in Pro Clubs. So you can play 11 on 11, and you're using that player that you have the card of. So whatever, like Team of the Season, Iniesta, here in the midfield. If you have a Royce card, you can play on the left side as Royce. Or would you prefer having your own customized player and keeping it in Pro Clubs only?
I'd like to leave them apart, to be honest.
You wouldn't like 11
Would you have it as like a Pro Club draft, though, Tim? Would you have it as like a little add-on?
The only thing I would do is maybe have some sort of transfer market where you can buy certain players, but I don't want like the Iniestas and the Ronaldos, maybe fake generated players that are better than the ones you have. Maybe something like that. But the whole thing about pro clubs, for me at least, is that it's not about the Ronaldos and the Messi. It's about different people, different players. So if you want to have a transfer market and you want to buy CPU players, at least make them different from what you're already playing within all the other game modes, I'd say, at least.
Yeah, I can see that. Then you can see a lot of dupes, too.
Yeah.
JCC, you're about to say something?
No, I was just thinking about how you said not real players. I was thinking possibly legends would be quite cool if they had actual legends, and you could have like 3 legends in your team as well as you. But I don't want to.
You're kind of lagging there, like JCC.
Pro or something, but I would hate it if it was. If I hate it.
JCC, we're kind of losing you right here.
Hello.
We just heard a bunch of What were you saying again?
Yeah, you're back, I think. No, you're not.
Back.
No. Turn off your camera for a little bit, and then we'll get to.
Where did you lose me?
Pretty much.
Okay, you're back.
Yeah, we pretty much lost the last minute of what you were saying. Like pretty much all of it. All right, speak now.
Okay.
All right, go for
it. About the
Legends,
yeah.
Legends, yeah, right after Legends.
Sorry, no, I was just saying, like maybe just a draft mode, like the same sort of thing as Ultimate Team Draft, and you can have like pick 3 legends and you try and win something. But I wouldn't want them to change the core game values and change it so you have like Iniesta and everybody has Messi right wing and everybody has Ronaldo left wing, and
that would be a fucking amazing game mode. I just thought of.
No, it wouldn't be.
Wait, no. Listen. If I'm conceptualizing what I think JCC is saying, you combine FUT Draft with 11 on 11. So you go in and then you're like, you choose your position, right? And then as your position, you don't know what player you're going to be. And then it just gives you a choice of 5 that you could play in that game. And then you play up against another team who gets a choice of 5, for each one of their positions. That would take fucking forever. That's the only issue with it. But no, here's the thing. You just get a timer. 30 seconds, everybody, you get the thing on your screen, whatever one. Otherwise, they default to whatever the highest rated is. That would be fucking incredible.
But B, that has taken you the best part of 25 seconds to come up with. I mean, if it was your job at EA, like, how do they not think of these things? You know what I mean? Like, there's so much potential with it to just experiment. They could have that as well as 10 other different modes in like a separate thing, but they just don't.
Yeah. Well, that's a dream. EA, if you're listening,
it is.
That's a fucking. That's a fucking.
If you have to,
that's a fucking
EA have
an
to.
idea.
Just make money off of it. Make us pay for boots and kits. I'm sorry if that's what it takes for them to give attention to the game mode. Then fucking do it. I'll happily pay $5 for my number 17. I'll pay $5 for my tight shirt. I'll pay $5 for my high socks. You know, if that is what it takes for them to pay attention to it and add more, pay $10 for a tattoo. I'll do it. Just improve it, and if it costs you money, you don't have to do it. You don't benefit from it in game from wearing tattoos. You go faster because of it. Just make sure there's a little bit of money that can be made, but still it's accessible to everyone, and you don't get an unfair advantage from it.
Yeah, the VC system has been brought up a number of times from 2K. You know, that I think that's a fair system. You can earn it in game, or you can pay, you know, extra to kind of if you don't have the time. I think that's a fair system. That's as fair as it's gonna get. With people, if you have the time, you can earn it. If you're not, maybe you're older like myself, you have a day job, you can't really play as much, then you spend a little bit of money, get that VC, get your nice boots, and use it in little microtransactions, either boots. And what's frustrating and what is hopeful about the Frostbite system now, I'm not totally sure about this, but I think it's the same engine that is running on the UFC game. And if you guys have seen the customization in the UFC game, it is incredible. If you've seen like the Ultimate Team Become a Pros or whatever that they are in that game, just watch some of those. Like Chris Move fought like a guy who looked like the Joker, exactly like the Joker. He fought a guy who looked like Jesus. He fought a guy who looked like the Easter egg head from Easter Egg Island, like those giant statues or whatever. It was insane, like the amount of customizations that you could do. There were people that were like all one color, like all black or all red or something. So it was absolutely insane. If they could do it in that, I understand it's going to be a little bit more difficult because you got 11 on 11 fucking flying around everywhere. But if you're able to do it in there, and that's the point of a next gen console. If the hardware is there, then we can see it. It's in EA's. And it's in-house. It's literally in EA. They went and talked to BioWare about like their dialogue triangle in the My Story mode and storytelling and that kind of stuff. Go talk to UFC about putting tattoos, and that kind of stuff. They don't have 2K, but you can use 2K as the model and that kind of stuff to do little microtransactions. And as JCC said, Legends would be dope. And I've been saying this for a while. I want Legends in career mode because I wanna play as Beckham at Man United. That would be dope, and that kind of stuff. But that's a discussion for another podcast. But I think we pretty much touched on like why we think that the EA ignores pro clubs and why you should get into pro clubs or try out VFL. So is there anything else that you guys want to wrap up about pro clubs? Why should someone care? Why should they go ahead and play? And what are your kind of hopes and dreams of VFL in the future, I guess?
God, honestly, I could talk 3 hours about the amazing moments I've had with clubs. I could keep on talking, but to whoever is watching out there, go make your own moments. Go experience yourself, and see what it's like. And I just hope EA at some point will give attention to the game mode. It can only get better. Then we don't just have the hardcore group of pro clubs fans, but everyone can come in and, experience it and maybe say, hey, this is all right. I'll play it some more. And hopefully, in the future, who knows? Esports, for example, who cares about 1v1 esports FIFA? Honestly, make it 11v11. Could be amazing.
That would actually,
so much that
I'd
you
watch
could do.
That. Yeah, I'd totally watch that.
Me too, because there's real
so
people.
Much better.
It's just, it would be so awesome.
And I want to echo those sentiments about I play career mode all the time, and I score amazing goals on career mode, and I sign amazing players, but still, what you brought up, totally, if I think, what's my greatest moments that I've had this past year, it's probably pro clubs. I scored a ridiculous bicycle, I did, a rainbow flick, and then hit it, and then I scored, a bicycle off of, a way over hit cross that I actually uploaded to YouTube. And got a lot of hate because I was the title was, I'm kind of a big deal in pro clubs, and everybody was like, shit. Yeah, and everybody was like, shit goal. I was very proud of myself, because I'm not that great at the game. And if you're not like that big of a fan of like online playing that kind of stuff, which I'm not, I would say that playing pro clubs infinitely improved my game. In like, it's a great cross trainer. Like, it's definitely helped me like understand speed and pace and tricks and when to use certain things in certain situations, and improve my game in career mode because I learned at different angles that you can shoot at and different stuff, and just interacting with other people brings up your skill level.
Exactly. A good pro clubs player will be good at any other game mode, but a good career mode or ultimate team player doesn't necessarily make a good pro clubs player. So I think if you play pro clubs, you're going to improve your game, and it's the hardest one to learn, but it's the most rewarding as well.
Yeah, JCC, what are your final thoughts on pro clubs and VFL and your hopes and dreams?
Well, I think echoing what you guys said. If you haven't found your passion on FIFA, like, you love it, but there's nothing that makes you feel like we've all explained those stories, and you can't think of anything off the top of your head that's ever made you jump out and, you know, like made you scream for excitement. You have to try it. You have to give it a go. It's also loads of benefits. I think it's a really social way to game because you are constantly in a Skype call or on the mics on PS4. You're constantly talking to someone, and there's no better feeling than having some centre back in front of you being controlled by some bloke sitting at home, and you completely nutmeg him and smash it past their goalkeeper, and you're just there like, you know, they're just sitting there like moaning at each other through the mic, like, you did this, you did this, and you're just there like, yeah.
When you're ruining goalkeepers, you've got a smile on your face.
Yeah,
nothing will give you that. Like, honestly, when you're doing the L2R2 dribble, making them go from left to right, making them fucking dance, and then putting it past them, that's just awesome if you could do that. So yeah, definitely. I'd say go for it.
Amazing moments. Thank you two for going ahead and joining me. And of course, I always fucking forget this, but at any time, go ahead and click on their faces right here, or click on my face, and go ahead and check them out. JCC is a pro club specialist, so definitely go ahead and check them out. And EyeGaimInHD, do you have a second channel where you upload pro club stuff, or no?
No, I don't. No.
Yeah.
I used to do pro clubs back in 2015. I know, but I can't play like VFL consistently enough to make a series out of it. That's my problem, really. I would otherwise. Yeah. Maybe FIFA 17.
But Tim, what is going on your channel right now? Go ahead and plug it up.
The YouTuber tournament that you two are also in. Very exciting to be playing and recording that. Very awesome. Maybe. Okay, sorry about that.
I did all right.
Yeah, you did all right. You could have gone through, to be honest. Like, I was rooting for you against Jack.
I was rooting.
Wait. Oh, like we lost you there a second, JCC.
Just for a second.
Yeah. You're rooting for me as well?
Are we on to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was rooting for
of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Fuck it. I thought I had Jack a couple times, but I was like, I didn't have the pace. I was like, I would get him. I was like, just turn around and shoot. And he fucking has John Stones and Dyer in the back and Lacella's. Like, I just couldn't get past him. It's like, motherfucker. But anyway, JCC, what's going on your channel?
Speaking of the VFL, we've got this season starting tomorrow. Roma, so a new league for me, and we're trying to win 4 trophies.
Oh, damn. 4 trophies. All right. Well, we're losing you again, so if you want to go ahead and check out anything that is JCC, go ahead and click on his channel. He's the Pro Clubs guy. You know, anywhere on the, just click our beautiful faces. Just do it anywhere.
Before we go, though, John, you said on Twitter you were going to buy me for 50 million. Are we going through with that deal or not?
100%. 100%.
Yes.
I'm on my manager's back.
Enjoying Roma.
You know you want to leave. You know you want to leave Bayern. You want to play in Rome, mate. The weather's better. The weather is better in Rome.
That is true. That is true. We'll sort out the details there once the call ends. Guys.
And if there isn't any more proof of how much pro clubs, like how much fun pro clubs is, it's the game mode that we're all playing when, well, JCC is primarily a pro clubs guy, but me and Tim, and I'd say I speak for Tyler, I speak for Jason, when we're not playing career mode, when we're not playing ultimate team, we're playing pro clubs, man. Like that's probably the game mode that we played the most this year. And that's just being honest. Like, we put more hours into pro clubs this year than we have playing career mode, probably. And further proof of that, once we're done with this podcast, we're probably gonna go play pro clubs. So that's probably the biggest endorsement that we had for the best game mode. Make it happen, FUT Draft Pro Clubs 11 on 11 EA. Make it fucking happen. All right, thank you guys. We're out.
Thank you.
Bye.